Hi guys, it's the Voracious Reader coming to you with another book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Glamorama by Bret Easton Ellis. This is his fourth novel after American Psycho and before Lunar Park. It was the longest Ellis ever wrote a novel. He began writing it in 1989 and finished it in 1997. Glamorama is a novel in two parts. The first part is about Victor Ward living in New York City as a fashion model and opening a new club. The second part of the novel is a parody of a spy novel, and it's about Victor Ward sent on a mission in Europe. One interesting thing about this novel is the first 185 to 190 pages are really rough to get through. They're really slow. They constantly mention celebrities, and nothing really happens. The prose of the novel is written in the minimalistic style Ellis writes in all his books, but this novel is over 500 pages, which is really rare for him. The novel uses parataxis methods of short sentences and clauses combined for a certain effect. Writing style is interesting in this novel. Uh, it the sentences have more long-running sentences than his other works, and there's less of the short, biting uh, descriptions that are in some of his work, like Less Than Zero. The novel is written in a first-person present point of view, which most of Ellis's work is. And the interesting thing about this novel is it's the only novel of Ellis's that I've read that actually has a plot, even though the first 185 or so pages is really hard to get through. The first 190 or so pages are full of celebrity names. It's constant. The Victor Ward is constantly name dropping or meeting celebrities everywhere he goes. It's as if he walks around New York City and everyone he bumps into is a celebrity or a musician, someone that you know. If you were to cut out all the articles, adjectives, and adverbs in the first 190 pages, you would still have at least about 50 pages of celebrity names. That's how inundated the book is with celebrity name dropping. This is Ford, in fact, showing Victor in his superficial life and the life of models in New York and the popular scene of restaurants and clubs. I once had a teacher that said to never use the culture in your writing. And Ellis does this a lot in this book, but it's very intentional. He's wanting to come off with a certain atmosphere in a certain area of culture, and he's using the pop culture in a very purposeful way. Ellis is using the celebrities in the sense of showing consumerism, materialism, fake surface level um, pleasures in life. He wants to show people who don't have much of an inner dialogue. He wants to have people doing things that have no meaning. In this book, he explores one of his recurring themes of privilege and privilege gone wrong. People who have everything in the world and then live in lives of disarray. Ellis wants to use fashion models in this novel, I believe, because they can be so insecure about their looks, and he can speak about surface level society in the 1990s. I find it interesting that this novel came out in 1998 and it talked about insecurities as a culture because it was predated two different things that are talked about a lot with this novel. It's compared to Zoolander, the movie, with Ben Stiller because of models and terrorism. And there's a lot of terrorism in this novel, and it predates 9/11. Did Ellis succeed in what he wanted to bring to light in this novel? I think he did. I think he succeeded with his. I think he succeeded with showing the models and actors in this novel being so detached from their own lives and having such simple existences that they could be wrapped up in a conspiracy of terrorism. Ellis talks a lot about this novel in interviews and says that he wanted to make a parallel between the model fashion world and terrorism. Victor Ward is an unreliable narrator because he does not seem to be self-aware in this book. And there's instances like, for example, one of the male models is being tortured, and he describes it as a mannequin being tortured. And you can't really tell if he realizes the severity of the issues that are happening around him. The plot device of this novel is very good. It's very metafictional and postmodern, showing that Victor in this world, the way he uh, Victor in this world, the way he participates is he's pretends that he's in a spy thriller movie with a camera crew when he's actually in a spy thriller book. Did I like this book? Yeah, I liked this novel. I didn't like it as much as the other work I've read by Ellis, but it was interesting. He had a lot to say with his novel, and sometimes it was a bit convoluted. I feel like the beginning of the novel was a bit of a mess, but I feel like that was intentional. Time magazine called it a screed against models and celebrity, and I think that's a good way of describing it because there are parts that are just painful to get through, whether it's for violence or just dull parts of the novel. But there's always humor, and this book is really hilarious and at times, and I think that's why I like it. And the one problem with the novel I have is it's so similar to American Psycho. If American Psycho didn't exist, I think I would have liked Glamorama a lot more. In American Psycho, he's satirizing 1980s Wall Street culture, and in this novel, 1990s fashion and celebrity culture. But there's so many parallels between the two that it seems like he's satirizing the same thing: celebrity names, restaurants, high-end goods, consumerism. He's making the same points he did in American Psycho. And it feels like Glamorama is a far lesser distant cousin of American Psycho. There are elements of this novel that you will never understand. You weren't meant to. They just leave you with questions like, why is there confetti everywhere? Why does it stink? Why is everything cold and icy? Um, Things like this. Film crew real? Why is there a film crew? Things like this show that Ellis wanted us to think a lot about this novel and not completely understand the plot or narrative. I found this interesting and different from novels by Ellis like Less Than Zero, where everything is very clean cut and on the page, and we are able to easily digest it. I I like Glamorama, but I don't know if I would recommend it to people. It does have the tropes of all Ellis's work. It has a lot of sex, violence, gratuitous violence, music, pop culture, uh, and a lot of money and rich people. I would give this book probably a 7 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it, but I don't think it was my favorite of his work. But I always enjoy Bret Easton Ellis's prose and writing. That's why I like his novels in the first place. All right, thanks for watching. Happy reading.